Welcome into our IdahoSports.com season preview for the high school volleyball season. We're going to be breaking down Class 6A teams here to start. My name is Brandon Baney. We are joined by our in-house volleyball expert, Lynnsie Togiai Ah-Fook. Lynnsie, thank you so much for coming back for another season. We love having your expertise here at IdahoSports.com.
Thank you. Love being here. I love the sport and just love being able to highlight different teams and players and see what's going on in different parts of the state. Because I know we get caught up where we live, but Idaho has a lot of talent all over. So
For sure. Lynnsie played volleyball over in East Idaho, then played in the college ranks in Montana, and now coaches over in East Idaho club and high school. And you're bringing back Keeping Up with the Kill this season too, your weekly volleyball column. We're so excited.
yes. I love doing that. It keeps me informed on each team every week, and keeps me informed on my club girls. Because you can't coach everywhere during high school. So yeah, it's fun.
Good way to stay connected statewide for sure.
Yes.
All right, well, let's take a look at the 6A classification. This used to be 5A. The terminology has changed, but what used to be 5A is now Class 6A. The defending state champions are the Madison Bobcats. So we'll start in their district, District 5 and 6, the High Country Conference. Lynnsie, I got to be honest, Madison brings back a lot of talent, including the conference MVP and senior Nora Waddups.
Yeah, I mean, Madison was a young team, right? Last year, they've had new coaches over the past 3 years, every year. They've kind of been through a lot, but that program has been a successful program for probably, the last 5 to 10 years. They've really started them young, and you see it. They have their own club up there too, and I actually coached my daughter in the 10-year-olds this year, and of course Madison had a couple teams in there, so I know that they start them young up there. I see them being a contender down the road for that title for sure.
Yeah, I mean, Nora Waddups is back. Mia Walsh, first team all conference opposite hitter. Brookie Lamp, the middle blocker. Johnny Folsom, outside hitter. Aspen Boyce, Tori Parker, Molly Haberly. All those players I mentioned were all conference players a year ago. So it's a good foundation for Madison. I think the next most intriguing storyline in this Eastern Idaho district, the High Country Conference, is Canyon Ridge. Because of enrollment numbers, Canyon Ridge actually moved up from 5A to 6A. They have to play in the East Idaho League. This was a really good team last year. They got to the 5A state tournament, overcame some adversity. They had a lot of players kind of quit the team in the middle of the season and a lot of stuff off the court, but they found a way to persevere and still managed to get to the 5A tournament last year.
Yeah, Canyon Ridge is one. They have a lot of younger players coming in, like you said, because they had to pull a lot of their JV up when that was actually seniors that did that last year, like mid-season. A lot of weird things happened there, but they persevered and they still made it to state, and that was with that younger group. So I think this year stepping in, they'll have that experience. It'll be interesting for them because, like you said, they'll be playing up a level, which I mean, they have some really good competition this year. So
yeah, we'll see how Canyon Ridge does playing at the 6A level for the first time. Setter Maddie Egerth, middle hitter Gabby Wilcox, a couple of seniors to keep an eye on this year for the Riverhawks. Looking at who actually made it to state at the 6A level last year, joining Madison at state from this conference was Thunder Ridge. The Titans got to state. They went 2-0. They did lose a lot to graduation. They do bring back one all-conference performer. It's libero Reese Hone. What do you think about Thunder Ridge this year?
I think their conference is tougher this year. I mean, I think that obviously Madison brings back most of their players. They only lost one senior starter. But then, I think Rigby is a better team this year also. So
yeah, I mean, let's talk about it. Rigby brings back Maddie Jensen, Brinley Bybee, Kylie Ertz, Tiade Togiai, all fantastic all-conference players. Tiade Togiai, I've seen her play basketball. She's like, what, 6'2", 6'3"? She's
6'2"-ish, yeah.
Yeah, she's a force out there at the opposite hitter spot. So I'm with you. I think Rigby is a team that's primed to take a step forward this year.
I think so. I think they have the key pieces that are kind of it's coming all together for them at the right time. Yeah, T is my cousin. That's Tiare. We call her T. Yeah, she can do some damage blocking wise from the right side. But she did play club for us too, so she's able to play really any spot in the front row, and she is an asset. So, and then Brinley also, I've seen her play a bit in club, and um, she is also really tall. So they have those two really tall players at the net who, have that experience now and know what they're doing. And so I think combining them together is going to be a threat for them.
Yeah, Rigby's got the height for sure. And then we have
Yeah.
Highland. They missed out on state last year. They're kind of a rebuilding program. They do bring back two all-conference performers in Jada Ward, the setter, and Towsy Young, the middle blocker. But it's not that we think Highland is bad, but like just in this loaded conference, like somebody's got to finish at the bottom. There's just so many good
Yeah.
teams.
I think it's going to be a rebuilding year for sure for them, and I think they know that too. I know the new coach fairly well, Tana, and yeah, I've seen her a few times in the gym this summer, and she said it herself. We're having rebuilding right now, and that's okay. She knew what she was taking on, so like you said, it's not like we think they're bad or anything like that. It's just that they do face tough teams, and especially this year, they're gonna face three tough teams.
Yes, that is a loaded conference over there in East Idaho for sure. So we've got a defending state champion in Madison. We also have another defending state champion at the 6A level this year in Skyview. Let's swing over to District 3 and the Southern Idaho Conference. Skyview has been on that roller coaster. They're up at 6A, they're down at 5A, they're up at 6A. Well, this year they had the numbers to be a 5A program, but they wanted the challenge, and they said, we want to petition up a level to play at the absolute highest level. I love that competitiveness from Skyview.
That's honestly not surprising out of that school. They have the players to do it again. They've kind of, like you said, gone up and down, but it doesn't really matter for them. They still took the title either way.
Yeah,
I,
Kevin Murphy's been there a long time. He's a great coach. They have a fantastic club program over there as well at
yes,
Skyview.
yes,
Bellamy Buse, junior, first team all conference. Lizzie Bauer, sophomore, second team all conference.
yes,
And there's players that we haven't even heard of yet that are ready to step up and fill in the lineup. They're just so good top to bottom
yes,
as a program.
yes. Amazing program again. Um, I think, I mean, it's kind of too soon to say this, but I am interested to see them in Madison play potentially.
Yeah, that would be a
Potentially.
potentially because Eagle is saying, "Hey, what about us? Remember
I mean,
last
I'm
year?"
not counting anybody out, but potential. I mean, that's a game I want to watch. So,
Yeah. Because last year, I remember we talked about this a lot. Oh, Madison and Eagle, let's see it. Well, they did finally
yeah,
meet in the championship last year. Eagle took second place. They bring back two all conference performers in Maya House, outside hitter, and Messina Woolley, middle blocker. I think Eagle's going to be right there in the mix again this year, too.
I mean, and Eagle came to battle, right? I mean, they fought hard with some of their seniors they had last year, but they came around the backside and forced that second game in the championship. So, that's hard to do. That's hard to do in the state tournament. You know, I think that you're right. Eagles up there as well. Yeah, these 6A teams, there's a lot of like high profile players, like you mentioned. Is it Bellamy? Is that how you say her name?
Yeah, Bellamy,
Um,
use.
yeah. Isn't she going to Kentucky? Is that right for college?
Yeah, I think so. And again,
Yeah.
she's only a junior, so already
Yeah.
that's pretty
Yeah.
impressive. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah. And watching her play live, yeah, she's deserving. She is a well-rounded player playing that outside spot for them. And again, young, because she's been playing it since she was a freshman, and they lost Alex Acevedo, but they just have some really good players. And I think um Eagle had a few players too that went on to play. So I mean, each program up there, I think they play for the same club together, honestly. But when it comes to high school, they're up there spread out in all of those big Boise schools. But
Yep. Eagles got a new coach this year, Ashley Holt. She was previously the athletic director at Emmett, and so she's getting back into
Oh,
coaching. So that'll be
oh,
interesting to see.
yeah.
Um, I think they'll be in a good spot as a program. Another team I think is going to be really solid this year is Hawaii. They took fourth at state last year, and they bring back Mikhail Roy on the outside, who is a 5'10"
Yeah.
athlete. Micaiah Gerhardt, another senior outside hitter. Mary Irwin, Kenna McClure, Shani McWilliams, Reese Meyer, all fantastic players. And
Jeez.
when you can bring back 6 all conference players, yeah, you're doing all right.
Yeah, I mean they're going to be in the mix as well. Oh, that'll be interesting. That makes it interesting. Like you said, do they have the most with 6
Yes,
returning
from this conference,
for
yes.
this conference? Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I remember they were kind of newer in the mix. Obviously, they're a newer school too, but like newer in the mix as far as being up there in the volleyball rankings. That was, they're kind of making their way through. But with what you just said, with so many returning, that experience and team chemistry is going to take them far too. So,
It's just what everybody wanted to hear. Hawaii's going to be good at another sport.
right? Because you were thinking about basketball, right? Well, now here they come in volleyball too.
Yep, they can definitely ball. The rest of the conference, Rocky Mountain was in the consolation bracket at state last year. They bring back Chloe Hansen, junior outside hitter. Timberline went 2-0 at state, and then they lost a lot. They don't return any all conference players. So we'll see what Timberline is able to do to reload. Mountain View brings back 3 all conference players. Tennyson Fry, the setter, really good player. She was first team all conference.
Okay.
Bora, Capital, Centennial, CUNA, they all missed out on state. They all bring back, all conference players. Is there somebody from that group that you think could get to state between Bora, Capital, Centennial, CUNA?
Um, uh, Kuna's always had a good program, and they've kind of bounced up and down as well between divisions. But I think possibly there. I don't know who their current coach is, but I know that they've always had a good program when they were in 4A before the change. So
Yes. They are one of the smallest 6A schools, but they are
I was gonna
they're
say they're
hang
6A. Jeez.
they're hanging in there. They're hanging tough.
Okay.
Okay, let's go to North Idaho, the Inland Empire League, where it's Coeur d'Alene, it's Lake City, it's Post Falls. Post Falls got to state last year. They actually took third place. They bring back Vanessa Kyson, senior outside hitter. This was kind of interesting, though. Like 2 weeks before the start of the season, Post Falls' volleyball coach, Will O'Hanna, announced that she was moving. Her and her husband were moving to Florida. It's something they were planning, not necessarily this quickly, but
Right.
Post Falls had to scramble to find a coach. Well,
Oh
they just
gosh.
went to the coach who was coaching before Will O'Hanna took over and said, "Hey, would
Okay.
you mind coming back?" She said yes. So I think actually it's going to be fine for Post Falls up north
Okay.
this year.
Okay. And how many all conference players do they return?
One in Vanessa Kyson, but up north, I will say it's harder to make the all conference team. There's no first team, second team. It is just here's like the 8 best players. So it's
Oh, okay, okay.
it's pretty selective. I think Post Falls and Coeur d'Alene are going to be the 2 teams to watch overall. But
Yeah, I agree. And Post Falls, you said got third, right?
yep,
And yeah, and they battled their way. Yeah, I remember they had really some really good players too, that also went on and played college. There's just so many programs now from Idaho. Love to see it. That I'm like, oh yeah, they had a couple that went here and there for college. So I'm like, yeah, Post Falls was one of them.
yep. And Coeur d'Alene's got a lot of height. Gracie Legg was the defensive player of the year in the league last year. The libero.
Okay.
Paisley Goings, senior outside hitter, was all league.
Okay.
Lake City missed out on state, but Jesselyn Wilson is back, the senior outside hitter. The big change in this league is Lewiston is not in the conference anymore. They dropped down a level to
Oh,
Class 5A due to lower than expected enrollment numbers. So that's one
that is
difference this year.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, Lewiston is now the big fish in the 5A pond. So
That's true.
yep. All right. So that's our 6A volleyball preview. Again, teams we're kind of keeping an eye on this year. From the east, Madison, Canyon Ridge, Rigby. From that Treasure Valley, right? From the
Yes.
Boise area, we're looking at Skyview, Eagle, Owyhee are going to be kind of the big contenders.
Yes.
And then up north, Post Falls, Coeur d'Alene, probably going to be duking it out. A lot of good teams, though, across the 6A landscape.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be tough, but yeah, I think the ones like sneaking in there like Owyhee and Rigby have a good shot because every year their teams are they're gonna be different. Just even if they graduated two players, even one, right? The dynamic changes depending on what role that player played, and so I think each of these teams, you know, didn't lose that much and that so it just makes those younger players have that experience and then coming together with what they have. Yeah, I think Rigby has some good seniors now. Madison has some good seniors and juniors now. Oh man, it'll be good volleyball there.
It's going to be a lot of fun to watch that 6A tournament shake out.
Yes.
That's for sure. All right. Well, thanks for tuning into our 6A high school volleyball preview here on IdahoSports.com.